95% of day traders eventually walk away from their screens. Most blame the market or a bad run, but the evidence suggests that the bank account is rarely the first thing to break. To see where the real damage happens, we have to look at this diagnostic chart. We're plotting time on the horizontal x-axis against financial amount on the vertical. That center line, point 0, is where every journey begins. From this neutral start, every trade pushes a dot across the grid. A small group manages to climb into the green, while the rest are pulled down into the red. Take Rajesh and Suresh. Both managed to lose $500,000. On a standard balance sheet, their failure looks identical, but the horizontal axis reveals the truth. Rajesh gambled and lost it all in 90 days. Suresh spent 18 months testing systems and analyzing data before reaching the same loss. Suresh built psychological capital, the market knowledge and emotional resilience that comes from surviving hundreds of sessions. Rajesh is left with nothing but panic. Because their losses happened at different speeds, their path back to zero is not the same. Recovery begins by identifying which trajectory you are currently following. At layer 1, the wanderer hovers near the zero line. They aren't facing ruin, but they aren't gaining ground because they lack a repeatable system. Stability at this level comes from pinning that dot to one strategy. By removing the urge to experiment with random setups, the line stops jittering and starts to flatten. Moving down to layer 2, we find traders like Suresh. The account is down, but their confidence is intact because they can point to the specific technical errors that led here. When a trader at this level tries to force a vertical climb back to zero, their unrefined skills often accelerate the descent. The overwhelming pressure to get it back completely overrides the fundamental logic of the trade. To stop this, the line must move strictly horizontally. This means 3 to 6 months of simulated trading, gaining technical proficiency without exposing the remaining capital to further risk. For these traders, the financial loss is a tuition fee for a technical education, provided they halt the slide before it compromises their mindset. If the slide continues, the trader hits layer 3. This is where the bank account and the confidence both bottom out. Decisions are now driven by a specific distortion. They will hold a massive loss for weeks, hoping for a miracle, but will sell a winning trade for a tiny profit within minutes out of fear that it might disappear. Recovery at this depth isn't about the money. It's about stringing together small consecutive wins to prove that a positive outcome is still possible. And then finally, there is the absolute floor. We call this layer 4. Money, confidence, and hope are completely gone. Trading has shifted from a financial pursuit to a destructive habit, often funded by debt, despite the trader knowing the likely outcome is another red day. Traditional strategy can't fix a state this fractured. At this point, the only choices are to step away from the market or commit to a complete reset of the entire journey. A 50% loss requires a 100% gain just to return to zero, a statistical mountain rarely climbed by a mind heavy with debt. Survival at this level requires the entry line paradox. You have to abandon the goal of making back what you lost. This requires mentally deleting the history of the slide. The jagged red line and the original zero line are removed from the calculation. You draw a new entry line exactly where you stand. Your current balance is no longer a loss. It is the new day 1. This shift changes the value of your next trade. Instead of a $5,000 win feeling like a tiny drop in a bucket of debt, it becomes a successful first step on a new path. The market provides the setup, but your internal position determines if you can execute the strategy. Recovery begins by choosing where your journey starts today.